So, is this really what people from the 90s think like? The psychology of people who grew up in the 90s. This video popped up in my feed. No idea really who did it. It's just from a channel called I Knew It. Maybe it's AI generated or something. I have no idea. But I'm going to take a look and scrutinize this. This is the Xennial Take channel. We grew up in the 90s, no doubt. So let's see if this is accurate. So let's see if this is actually accurate. Here we go.
People who grew up in the 1990s carry themselves differently. There's something about them that feels both nostalgic and wise, like they lived through the last era where childhood wasn't documented every second. They're the bridge generation.
So that's true for sure. The bridge generation right here, the Xennials, they're talking about exactly us here. Um, yeah, when I was young, when we were young in the 90s, we didn't have everything recorded. I remember recording my brother and I doing the Macarena, if you remember the Macarena dance. And we had this big old camcorder, right? Like gigantic, bigger than our head. We had to set it up on a table and aim it at us and look through this little binocular kind of thing to see what it was going to be recording. We had to put in the big cassette tape, the big VCR cassette style tape, pop it in there, hit the big red record button, and then run over there and do the Macarena, and then run back, turn it off, hit play. And well, rewind first. You got to rewind the tape and then hit play and watch it back on a tiny little screen to see if it actually recorded what you wanted it to record. So, there was no pointing and uploading it to the internet or anything like that. And even before that, none of that existed really. So definitely nothing was recorded from our childhood except for some of those old videotapes that we got.
The ones who remember life before smartphones, but adapted to the digital world. And their psychology reveals something fascinating about how timing shapes who we become. People from the 90s experienced something rare. They lived through the golden age of independence without technology. Saturday mornings meant cartoons you couldn't pause or rewind.
Oh, yes.
If you missed your favorite show, it was gone until next week. This created a psychology of presence. They learned to be fully engaged in moments because those moments couldn't be captured, replayed, or shared instantly. Their
So true. I remember watching the Exo Squad was a big one that my brother and I liked to watch, and there was a dinosaur one with rockets on the dinosaurs, and I think that might have been the Exo Squad actually. There's two different ones that I'm thinking of: one with dinosaurs, one without dinosaurs. I think it's the Exo Squad, which was great. Really good. But yeah, you watched what was on the channel. When I was growing up, we had just over the air bunny ears TV, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels, something like that. And you watched whatever was on. There wasn't any, clicking over to Netflix and looking through hundreds of programs to see what you liked. You just watched what was ever was on there, or went to Blockbusters and got a videotape and popped that in and watched that. So yeah, you definitely were more present because you were not going to re-see whatever you were watching most of the time, or whatever was happening in real life. You're at a birthday party or a party or whatever event, you're fully focused on it. You're not recording it through your phone and seeing it secondhand through a small little screen or anything.
childhood was analog, but their teenage years went digital. They remember when getting online meant choosing between the phone and the internet.
Oh, yes.
When talking to friends required actual planning.
I remember yelling at the parents because if you were on the dial-up internet and they picked up the phone, it would kill the internet. And so you'd be like, hang up the phone, I'm on the internet, or vice versa. Get off the internet, I need to use the phone. And the phone was attached to the wall with a cord, of course.
When boredom was something you had to solve with imagination, not endless scrolling. This shaped their relationship with technology in a unique way. They use it, but they're not consumed by it. Psychologically,
Yeah, I think that's a battle though these days. Everybody is battling technology, being consumed by it. And, instead of letting yourself get bored, which is a time where your mind starts going and thinking of things and figuring things out, and then you go and create something to do and imagine something to do. Instead, you pick up your phone and you're just flip, 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 flip mindlessly through videos that are meaningless and designed to get you to just stay zoomed in, learn nothing, do nothing, just zone out basically.
90s kids developed what researchers call delayed gratification mastery. They waited weeks for movies to come to video stores. They saved allowance money for months to buy one CD. They understood that good things took time, and that anticipation made rewards sweeter. This patience still shows up in how they approach goals, relationships, and life decisions today.
For sure. And that's one thing that my wife and I are trying to do with our daughter. We are not going to give her her own cell phone, extremely limited access to TV, cell phones, tablets, things like that. Definitely nothing of her own until she's probably a teenager or maybe even older. As much as possible, we're going to keep her off of those things and allow her to use her imagination, build that delayed gratification, as they're calling it. I think it's extremely important for life and happiness in life that you develop the ability to ease your boredom and figuring things out without the use of technology all the time.
But here's what makes them different from every generation before and after. They witnessed the exact moment when the world changed. They remember the shift from handwritten notes to instant messages,
Mhm.
from calling someone's house and talking to their parents first to texting directly, from privacy being normal to sharing everything being expected. This experience created a psychological duality. They can appreciate both the simplicity of the past and the convenience of the present. They're comfortable with silence, but skilled at digital communication. They value authentic connection, but understand virtual relationships. They're not trying to go backward or sprint forward. They're just naturally balanced. The 90s generation learned resilience through small daily challenges.
Oh, that's a good one right there. If you're not from the 90s, you probably don't know what that kid is doing. Like, why is he sticking a pencil in a tape? If you even know that that's a tape. But that's a cassette tape. We used to use those, of course, to listen to music. And if the rewinder on your boombox broke, you would use a pencil to rewind it. Or if the tape came out, which I think this is what that's representing, but the tape should be coming out of the other side. This is AI generated, obviously, here, it looks like. But if the tape came out, like your boombox ate the tape, it would pull the tape out. And then you would stick a pencil in the little hole right there and just twist it to reel the tape back in. But go back. I'm going to go back here just a little bit because it was right on with this here.
They're not trying to go backward or sprint forward. They're just naturally balanced. The 90s generation learned resilience through small daily challenges that don't exist
further
anymore.
back, I think.
This experience created a psychological duality. They can appreciate both the simplicity of the past and the convenience of the present. They're comfortable with silence, but skilled at digital communication.
Yeah. So anybody in their 40s right now, and maybe your late 30s, you totally get that. We are definitely the last generation that's going to be skilled without technology and with technology, at least as any kind of bulk group. And personally, I think that's huge because it gives you a completely different perspective that anyone in their mid to younger 30s and under don't have. They never experienced life without phones and computers and everything else, and it just gives you a perspective on life that you can't get in the digital world for sure.
They value authentic connection, but understand virtual relationships. Their not 90s generation learned resilience through small daily challenges that don't exist anymore. Figuring out how to record songs off the radio without the DJ talking over them. Navigating with physical maps. Solving problems without Google. These tiny struggles built mental toughness and resourcefulness that still serves them today. Maybe that's why talking to someone from the 90s feels different. They're present without being disconnected. They're tech savvy without being addicted. They remember when life moved slower, and somehow they've kept that rhythm even as everything around them speeds up.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go back
Have you ever
there.
noticed how people
That's pretty accurate, I would say. Especially there in the end, um, talking to someone from the 90s feels different, or what I was thinking about is right here, being present without being disconnected. Um, it's interesting when I'm in a big group of people, or even a small group of people, especially if they're younger or nowadays even older, actually, and you're sitting there and everybody is just on their phone, staring at their screen, don't either know how to conversate or don't want to conversate. It's really not knowing how to deal with basic boredom. If you're in a group and people are talking about things that you don't necessarily care about, it's easy to pick up your phone and start flipping. And the digital generation, that's what they do. They don't see that as anything bad. Where someone in their 40s and up, when you pick up your phone and start flipping through that, that's rather rude to do and seen as you don't care about them, you don't care about the conversation, you don't care about the people that are around you, and you know in those times when you're bored is where you really get to grow and expand your mind, because you're having to figure out things that you don't necessarily want to do, instead of just, oh, this is difficult, this is bored, I don't like this, put a screen in my face so I don't have to deal with it. So that's huge for sure. So good video, probably AI generated, it looks like, but relatively accurate. So I'm glad I stopped and took a look, and hopefully you got something out of this as well. Let me know down in the comments when you were born, if you're how old you are, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 20s, whatever the case may be, what you think about those who grew up in the 90s or even the 80s. The 80s is relatively similar, but they experienced more of their life without technology. So I find that tech is a little bit more difficult for those in their 50s nowadays that grew up in the 80s, than it was for those who grew up in their, especially their teenage years in the 90s and such. So let me know in the comments your thoughts. While you're down there, if you have another video you want me to take a look at, post it down there. I'll reply to all those comments and I'll check out those videos. Appreciate it. And until next time, have an awesome one.